Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots. Bootlicker, Shields, Nestle, Service Peasants, Vassals, Minions, Meat Sacks. I'm a useful idiot, and I'm going back to the U.S. of A. So I got to talk about John McCain, and I kind of wanted to talk about John McCain for a long time. I've made some jabs at him over the years, but I haven't really given him the treatment. And one of the things I've always wondered is what the hell is wrong with people who live in Arizona that they keep re-electing that turd. And, of course, I know the answer before I even ask the question, because I know that Arizona as well as Florida are both populated with a lot of retired people, a lot of retired military, and a lot of retired people who are pro-Israel. They've grown up in an era of being pro-Israel, and they still buy that line. And they also buy that line about John McCain being some kind of war hero by being a prisoner in North Vietnam for all those years and theoretically being tortured. And although there's others who claim that John McCain was a collaborator and made dozens of pro-North Vietnamese videos during his supposed capture. Well, he was captured, so it's not a supposed capture. But, I don't necessarily have to respect that either because, my dad served in Vietnam too, and he managed to not get captured. He also managed to not collaborate with the enemy. So I feel like I've got a little room to gripe. And one of the reasons I like to criticize John McCain right now specifically is his speech in the Senate the other day, where he said, quote, "The Israelis will need to chart their own path of resistance. On the Iranian deal, they may have to go rogue. Let's hope their warnings have not been mere bluffs. Israel survived its first 19 years without U.S. patronage. For now, all it has to do is get through the next 22, admittedly long months." Unquote. And what a speech from John McCain in the Senate. It's moments like these that our political process is an embarrassment to me. Our political figures like John McCain are an embarrassment to me. And to see this kind of a spectacle broadcast around the world is embarrassing to me. Because first of all, for him to be encouraging another government to do a preemptive strike against another country, I think is a questionable moral. And for him to encourage them to go rogue when John McCain, the supposed maverick, has had his whole career talking about these rogue nations that have to be bombed, and yet now he's suggesting that Israel go rogue, and then to say that he hopes that the Israeli bluffs, these threats of Israel against Iran, have not been mere bluffs. And imagine the shock if he had said someone had hoped that Iran's supposed threats were not mere bluffs, even though the amount of threats by Israel against Iran far outnumber anything suggested by Iranians. And so then he says all they have to do is get through the next 22 months. So suggesting that all they need to do is squeak by the next 2 years, Israel, and then John McCain is confident that there will be another Republican in the White House, and that Israel and the United States will get a chance to bomb Iran. So just pretty audacious on John McCain's part. But like I say, it's not like I expect any different behavior from John McCain after all these years. Let's remember that it was 2007 that he infamously joked about bomb Iran set to surf music. And I remind you that that's 8 years ago that John McCain had a hard-on for bombing Iran, just like his buddy Netanyahu. And it doesn't even seem to matter what the facts are, what the logic is, what kind of negotiations are going on, what is the reality of geopolitics. He just wants to bomb another country. And John McCain has never met a war he didn't like. And the fact that he's ready for any war under any administration should be a warning to all Americans. And let's remember that John McCain is also the one that said that if it took 50 years or maybe 100 years, we should stay in Iraq. And as things unfold, he may get his dream come true, the United States being in Iraq for 100 years. That seems to be the kind of a promise that John McCain lives for. And then also John McCain once was told that one of the United States' major exports to Iran was cigarettes, and he seemed to be overjoyed at the idea that the U.S. exports could kill Iranians slowly. And then, of course, one of my personal favorites, John McCain, talking about someone interrupting and protesting somewhere where he was speaking and calling out to them to stop, or I'll have you arrested, you low-life scum, unquote. So the true nature of John McCain's relationship to American citizens and to any rational thought or to anything besides starting another war, that kind of idea is foreign to him. And so anyway, I just want to give my hats off to John McCain for continuing to rattle your sword all these many years, seeming to have learned nothing from supposedly being tortured in Vietnam for a decade. And, well, I guess that's it. I said my piece. Fuck you, John McCain. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too.